curve is on TV, is through a screen, bro. There's a lot of people that want to come in here chanting science, 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 right? But there's absolutely no science needed at all for measuring for a curved surface. That's why we're here, man. Ain't no curve to be measured. If there ain't no curve to be measured, it's flat. And that's flat as an adverb in a horizontal position to make the record clear. So either Earth curve has been measured, or you can measure Earth curve, or not, and it's flat. So which is it?
It's curved.
And when have you seen the Earth curve?
Notice the effects.
So there's no effects of Earth curve. No. We're talking about observing direct curvature. You've never seen it, right? Never observed direct.
I've never had the perspective to observe the curvature of the Earth.
All right, that's fine. Answer it how you want. So yeah, you've never seen Earth curve. Got it. Neither have any of us. We've gone out and measured for it, only to find that it's not there, and that with each increase in distance,
seen a photon. Never seen a photon. Still believe they exist.
But you have a belief system,
so we're measuring. We went out measuring for Earth curve to find that it's not there. With each increase in distance, there's an increase of missing drop over that distance. That's what we have found repeatedly.
Hold on, are you weekly blind? Dude said he never saw a photon. Like, what do you think you're seeing? What the fuck was that? You're a physicist.
Encountering photons, those are being accentuated within my neurons, and those are giving me an impression of color, of depth, of perception. But those aren't the actual photons themselves. Those are an interaction between photons and the rods and cones within my eye. Buckhead.
So photons enter the eyes.
You don't even know what a cone is.
Code. What do you think? When you say seeing, right? That's a human activity. When you say I haven't seen a photon, the other shit after the photon interacts with your epithelial cells.
Oh, you guys are dumb.
Yeah, what you said is dumb because seeing.
Yeah, you guys are dumb.
I didn't see the photon.
You guys aren't like, oh, that's what you meant. You guys are dumb. You guys are dumb.
No, seeing. You said seeing.
Gracious.
Sorry.
What do you see then?
I see a amalgamation that my neurons conglomerate into the.
So you see neuron interaction.
I perceive neuron interaction. Yeah. Well, my perception is neuron interaction.
You said it.
Correct. Oh my goodness.
You guys don't believe in neuroscience? You guys are flat earthers.
Stop telling us to believe in shit.
That's amazing.
Why does everybody have to believe in stuff?
That one, Radwin. That right there. The same belief again.
What do you believe in?
You don't believe in neuro. It's not beliefs, dude. You either know or you fucking don't. That's what we're trying to get through to you.
Well, I don't know. I don't know anything, dude. I don't know anything.
We know that.
You can't know anything?
Yeah, you guys don't know anything either. You guys think you do.
Yeah, we do. We know the Earth is flat and stationary and contained.
Look, someone that says they don't know anything telling us we don't know anything, we're not going to take it seriously because you don't know that.
You think you know what science is. There's a lot of things that you think you know, but you don't. It's unfortunate. It's sad.
Yeah, cool. You already said you don't know anything, so we don't care what you say. You don't know anything you're saying.
And you guys want to know, right? That's the ultimate goal, is to know.
Know what? We already measured the Earth. It's flat. What do we have to do now?
That's pathetic. You guys think you know.
No, we measured it.
Yeah, but you don't. You don't know.
But we didn't measure it.
You didn't measure it. You were trusting what other people measured.
Are you saying we didn't measure it?
Yeah, you didn't measure anything.
Yes, I did. I have my own gear.
What'd you measure?
Distance to what island is that? Kelly's Island from Cleveland. When I did it.
How'd you measure it?
First, I used a map, saw the distance, and I got my camera out and said, "This is impossible."
You used somebody else's measurements to use a map.
You gonna let me talk, or you gonna tell my story?
Well, you use somebody else's measurements that created the map to use. Like, but go on, keep going.
I'm waiting for you to finish.
You used a map, right? So somebody else made measurements
math
against that map, and then you trusted in the measurements of that map, and then you used the measurements of that map maker to then make your own measurements, right? You didn't actually make the measurements.
Who said anything about a globe? Nobody. You don't need a globe to make a map.
No, you said you made all the measurements yourself.
All maps are flat, dude.
I'm just backing it up.
All right, go ahead, talk
a little bit. And you don't like it when people question you. I get that.
Get it all out.
But yeah, so you didn't make your own map, and you used a map to make measurements. But keep going.
Hold on.
How can I keep going? How can I keep going?
Shut up. You can keep going.
Okay. Yeah, I used a map, got the distance from my location to the island, and said that cannot happen on a ball because of the ball Earth numbers. And grabbed my P900. Went whoop. There's the island. Nope. Guess the Earth isn't a ball.
How do you trust that P900?
Why would it make up that island? It doesn't know it's sitting in Lake Erie.
Why do you trust that measurement of that P900? Did you clock it yourself?
Like what?
Did you like dial it in yourself? Like did you calibrate that P900?
My camera?
Your P900.
What do I need to dial in? Focus?
How do you know that that measurement is accurate?
Well, I guess all maps are wrong.
I don't know.
Now you don't know anything. You know anything about maths. You don't know anything about physics, math. What else don't you know?
I know about math and physics. You guys are the ones who likes to question things. I'm just questioning things. I'm sorry you guys don't like when the tables are reversed, but
I told you.
Well, we're not questioning things. We're just not taking them at face value. Then.
Yeah, I'm not taking anything at face value, and you guys don't like it when I do that. Apparently.
Oh, you don't?
Feynman. Find it interesting.
You guys are getting very competitive when I ask a couple questions. Kind of weird.
Hold on, Feynman. Hold on, please.
That didn't happen. Now you're going to do.
You're going to question my maps? Yeah, I'm going to ask about the maps. Yeah. You asked about my mathematics and physics. Yeah. A bunch of pussies.
It's kind of crazy, right? Because you ask questions. See, that's the thing. It's like you listen with your mouth, and every time you ask a question and somebody begins to answer that question, you immediately talk through the answer. Stop doing that.
Is that what you did when you were in college? When they would start speaking, you would immediately start talking through them?
No, because
we're here to teach you. Yeah, we're the teachers. You're the students.
You asked a question and I was responding. So when I was in college, I dealt with like pretty intelligent people who would give pretty reasonable reactions when I asked a question, like you guys. But that's a difference. That's the main difference here.
The difference, would you stay shutting up long enough for them to give the answer?
Yeah, of course. Yeah. They were bright, intelligent.
Okay, then give us the same respect, please. Stop asking a question and then talking straight through the damn answer.
At least be curious then.
Yeah, no one cares about your social commentary. This gimmick is not going to work, dude. You're going to get muted. This is a gimmick.
See, there you go.
Yeah, it's a gimmick, dude. You're trying to characterize and meta the conversation because you got nothing. You got nothing of substance, and you're a fucking utter moron. You literally said you don't know anything. Once you say that, you're done, dude. If you don't know anything, but you said you don't know anything, where do we go from there?
I don't know, man. When you do an ad hom.
Yeah, exactly. Where do we? You said it. It's your words. You said, I don't know anything. Where do we go from there with you?
You don't go anywhere, man.
Yeah, if you
that's right.
You guys are stuck in a fucking like square circle that you guys have locked yourself in. You guys are stuck here.
Feynman.
Circular reasoning. You guys are circular reasoning yourself out of the circular world.
Bueller. Okay, so there's kind of an issue here, right? Because you have said that you don't know anything, yet you go on to assert certain things, right? And you assert them as belief because you don't know anything.
You can't assert something as belief. Belief is just something you believe. You can't assert belief.
No, you come in and you assert things, but you call them a belief. I don't think you're understanding. Is your comprehension? What's your comprehension level like?
We're going to find out right now. Feynman, I posted a question for you from the NASA IQ test. Which of the figures below are not triangles?
You could do it, Feynman. Yep.
Yes, that's where we post things.
D. Oh no, D. Well, D and D.
What is it?
E and D.
E and D?
Yeah. Well done.
Let's find out if you got it right. Come on, here's the answer.
Oh, I was right. Nice.
Now we're gonna get to the fun stuff.
I thought that was it.
No, there's more to it. Ready? Here's the next part.
More.
There's the next part. Are those both angles? The one who has a green check mark, is that pointing to an angle?
I don't.
All of a sudden, he doesn't know.
I mean, I don't understand the question. Like,
is that an angle where the arrow is pointing?
A fifth grader would say Green check mark is the correct answer.
Correct.
All right. Man, you're gonna fucking have a meltdown next. Hold on.
He's gonna ace this test and probably just wig out.
You know what this is?
Protract.
What's that called?
All right. Yeah. All right. Now, does this make sense to you?
Nice.
Does that make sense to you?
Yeah.
Oh, perfect. This is good.
That's called non. Hold on. That's called non-Euclidean geometry.
No, we're not talking about anything. We're talking about did that make sense?
Oh, I can't define it. Okay.
Yeah,
that's
no,
what
you're
it's
not.
called.
Does that make sense to you? Does that make sense to you?
Yeah, it's non-Euclidean geometry, faggots. Yeah, it makes sense.
Yeah, you can't have a triangle on the surface of a ball. I knew he was going to break down as soon as I got to this part.
That's not a triangle.
Dude, I'm a professional at making people spiral.
That's how is that a triangle? I don't understand.
Exactly. That's why celestial navigation does not work on a globe. You idiot.
Bingo, because you need elevation
What did I say that contradicted that? Idiot.
Well, now you know.
What did I say? What are you killing me on? What did I say that you're killing me on? You act like this is a big reveal. What did I say?
You said celestial navigation proves the Earth is flat, basically.
Not what I said.
Well, you agree to it all.
No.
You don't agree to what I posted?
To the last thing you posted?
Yeah.
Let me read it. Hey, by the way, guys, this is so much fun. I appreciate it.
My hobby. I love rotting your brain out of globe no more. All gone. Your globe is gone. Now you're really going to have to deal with this. Let's see what AI says. Can you have a triangle on the surface? Can you have a 90 degrees to the surface of a ball? Let's see. No.
No, I don't disagree with that, man.
Okay, then you're a flat earther now. So go tell all your friends. Yes, you are.
How am I a flat earther? Like,
you don't agree with globe navigation. You only agree with flat earth navigation.
Well, okay. Like, there is such a thing as projection. Okay. Like, you do eventually have to assume that stars are at infinity for these calculations to work, basically. So if you assume they're at infinity, you can kind of assume...
No.
What?
Okay, yes. What number is infinity?
It's like an 8, but on its side.
No, how do I use that in a calculation?
It's like an 8, but it's totally on its side, bro. You know?
That's not a number.
It's not. It's a concept. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, those stars are not like infinity away. They're probably a lot more local than we've been led to believe.
Yeah, so in math, sometimes you take liberties and you assume things that are super, super far away are at infinity to make like some of the math work out easier. Like you make some assumptions. Now, it's not totally like accurate, but it gives pretty good predictions.
I don't know how shooting it to infinity makes the math easier if it's just a concept and an assumed concept in the first place.
Okay, honey, what's 1 divided by infinity?
Excuse me. 1 divided by infinity.
What is 1 divided by x as x approaches the limit of infinity? Sorry, let me be explicit.
Amount of ones.
No, it's 0. Nice try. So it simplifies a lot of like math. When you have x going to infinity, you can like zero out things. You can like get rid of some numbers. So it's mathematically useful. It's mathematically useful to assume certain like things that are super large, super big, super distant are at infinity because it makes a lot of the math go easier. You can like. You can take certain from sine of x plus c.
Yeah, so the thing about it is it's not helping you with the celestial navigation point with the fact that you need a fucking triangle to do celestial navigation.
Right. So it projects onto a flat surface because it's easier to understand. Not because it's obvious. Not because it's easier to understand. And you assume those stars, those equations that he is using, implicitly assume those stars are at infinity. So there's a lot of like calculations going into those equations that are reduced down to nothingness because you divide by distance, which is at infinity, so you can ignore most of those like contrivances. Not contrivances.
So is that what mariners are doing when they're using their
I know I'm
sextants?
not making any sense to somebody who doesn't speak physics, but you know.
Dummy. You don't need a distance to the stars. I don't know where you're getting that from. You just need an angle to it. And you can't make an angle on the surface of a sphere.
You can. Yeah, you can.
You cannot, you idiot.
Yeah, you can. It just won't.
Take that protractor. Cut out that protractor. Print out the protractor I gave you. Get a basketball. Lay that protractor on the basketball and get me the angle to the light in your room.
Real quick, I want you to take a protractor out. Take 3 of this. Okay, assume the Earth is a globe. I know that's hard. Take 3 cities on the globe and trace out, if the Earth was a globe, a triangle with those 3 cities. 3 cities, 3 points. That would make a triangle, right? Those 3
eternal triangle on the surface of a globe. You cannot have a triangle on the surface of a ball.
How about this? A quote unquote triangle. Okay,
so it's not a quote unquote triangle. That's not a thing.
Oh man, it's like impossible to make a point. So you connect those 3
But you just got rebutted. You can't have a triangle on a spherical surface. You're like, well, if you just quote unquote it.
Oh, wow. So yeah. So you connect 3 points on a surface of a globe or a sphere. Okay. Any 3 points, hopefully localized, but within like an area, you make 3 connections. So I said like 3 local cities, but you guys don't believe in a globe. 3 local points. You make 3 local points. You trace out on the surface what that figure looks like. It will appear, if you project it into 2 dimensions, as a triangle. However, in 3 dimensions, yes, it's not a perfect triangle. The summation of the interior angles do not equal 180 degrees.
Let's test your theory.
Does their summation of their interior angles equal less than 180 degrees?
Test your theory. I'm going to post something for you. Answer this question.
More.
We're going to test your theory. What is the sum of the internal angles of this triangle? That's it, folks. He's done.
Your goose is cooked.
I'm on mode.
Fine, man. What is the summation of the angles there on that one? The triangle you just showed me.
Internal angles of the 3 dots that connect that triangle, because there is no triangle.
Oh,
exactly.
That's a triangle on the surface of a ball, isn't it?
Did the penny just drop? I think so.
It's done.
Oh yeah, they could all be on the equator. That's interesting.
What?
What are you talking about, you idiot?
That's an interesting.
I got him so fucked up with that last name. He doesn't know what to think anymore.
That's pretty good. Yeah, so the sum of those angles would be 360. Yeah, that's a good.
Okay, so let me give you the answer. I'm going to show you the answer in here. Ready? Here's the answer. It's a red circle I put black dots on. You idiot.
You dumbass.
Did you not get my equatorial, like, what I was saying? Like, that was a good...
Oh,
that's
Earth's
a good
not a globe. Earth's not a ball, so that doesn't work.
Okay, let's say we have a basketball. You freak. We have a basketball, and
what is that?
We put 3 dots on... Let's say let's make an equator.
Slow down with the burns, man.
Make an equator on the basketball and put 3 dots on it. That's still 3 dots on a surface, making a triangle. Now, that triangle would go through
triangle.
You sound kind of like you don't have an education if you think a triangle has curved sides.
In non-Euclidean geometry, it does. Yeah.
Well, we don't use that anywhere.
Stars are at infinity distance.
We use it in
volumes right there.
Infinity distance that we never asked for a distance. We said it's an angle from the horizontal plane that we stand on, and you agreed all the way through up until I showed you the ball with a triangle on top of it that said not.
And then I mentioned non-Euclidean geometry, and you guys lost your mind like I said something in Spanish. Even though it's like, it goes back to fucking like Euclid. Greek. It was like 2,500 years old. You guys are fucking like dumb. Like, it's Euclidean geometry. Like, god damn it.
You said non-Euclidean, dumbass.
Yeah, it's Euclidean geometry. You're going to school me on what I just said when I said Euclidean geometry, and I'm like, no, it's Euclidean geometry that we're used to, and then it's non-Euclidean geometry that we're invoking right now. Are you fucking retarded, bro?
Okay, like, there's no triangles in non-Euclidean geometry.
There definitely are. Yeah.
Okay, then you're wrong about
angles. You're looking at one right now. If you're looking at the circle that fucking Radwin sent, it's fucking like that's
not a triangle.
It is.
You just blab, dude. You say stupid shit, dude. It's endless.
He just said if you're looking at one right now, if you look at that circle that Radwin posted.
Like, bro, there's no triangle there.
But there's 3 points, so it's a triangle.
It's really sad that you guys can't like visualize stuff.
Visualize, bro. There's a circle in the chat, and you're saying it's a triangle. Do we need to get back out of kindergarten?
I'm using my mind to imagine that circle is a sphere, and those dots are on the equator of that sphere, and those dots eventually on the surface make a triangle. I'm using my brain to do that. It's sad that you guys can't do that,
bro. What the fuck?
You don't make a triangle. Taking a globe and making 3 points on it on the equator of a globe does not create a triangle.
Yeah, I'm sorry, bro. It sucks for you.
What, bro? You're saying a circle's a triangle.
You are dumbfounded, dude. You are absolutely dumbfounded in here.
You broke this one, Radwin.
Hey, Radwin, get the triangle test out. Has he done the triangle test yet?
He passed the triangle test. He passed every single thing I gave him up until I gave him a curved triangle. Then he said, no, that's a triangle too.
In non-Euclidean geometry, it is. Correct. Correct. It is.
What's the length of the sides of those triangles that circle with 3 dots? What's the length of the sides?
That sounds like a code, bro.
NON Euclidean. EUCLID.
You know what it is, dude.
Oh.
Yeah, I can't even spell non-Euclidean.
Nice. Good job.
It's all right, man. Nobody measures triangles on the sphere, man. So you're all right.
No, I'm Googling equatorial.
Why?
Triangle. Just to prove you guys are retards.
What a projection.
Well, I know I'm not stupid. And I just want to
sure about that?
Bullshit, dude. You said you don't know anything.
Stupid.
Yeah, so we got...
The ghost already helped. Because he already proclaimed that he doesn't know anything. I stopped talking to him at that point. No.
Oh, you tapped that?
Well, he said he doesn't know anything. Like, why am I going to talk to him?
There is a that's a triangle on a surface. With
That's not a triangle, you idiot. Triangles don't have curved sides.
Where's the triangle?
Triangles don't have curved sides. You passed the test, remember? One had a curved side. You said that's not a triangle. Now you just showed us one and said that is a triangle. What's wrong with you?
How many times do I have to say non?
Going hard in the paint, Radwin.
Before you Google non-Euclidean, like, what does it take? Like, how many times?
Why are you saying
Are you guys like special ed? I don't get it.
No, I can tell you that nobody's taking their 90 from the center of a sphere.
Yeah, I didn't get to that yet with him. He doesn't know how that's done. I didn't get to that yet with him. That you need the center of a ball to do all those tricks. You don't have a center of Earth, so you don't have spherical triangles on a globe Earth. You're done.
It's just that easy, Feynman. Nobody's ever done this test, bro. Like, why are you so hot under the collar about it? Who's done this? What you're claiming has been done? Who? That you know of?
What am I claiming?
Yeah, you got triangles on a globe, dude. Who's ever measured that? Like, what you're trying to propose here? Who's done that?
Thousands of mathematicians and physicists and scientists.
You couldn't even name.
I'm going to put the definition of triangle from Math World. Okay.
Sorry, you guys are in a fucking like weird little like wellspring of scientific ignorance, but there's a lot of science going out there. If you guys want to join,
you couldn't name one.
You're the one I think he sees the neurons.
Was it scientists? What the fuck? What?
What'd you say, dude?
This dude said he doesn't see photons. He sees neurons.
How the fuck?
Bro, he keeps chanting science for a beach ball, bro. Stop chanting science for a beach ball. That's retarded.
Yeah, you said science and you're clearly doing math or geometry. Like, it's not science, bro.
Physics is not science? Okay.
Yeah, so what are you doing that involves science?
Schooling you retards.
Okay, that's not a rebuttal to what I just asked you. Can you clean it up and actually come back with a good retort?
Probably not.
That's what I figured.
What kind of science are you doing?
So, here's the thing, though. Did I make that claim, numbnuts?
Yeah, because you make no claims because you're a pussy. You're scared to have a claim to defend.
All right, so you're just going to defend this asinine clown right here.
No, I'm just insulting you because you have no claims. It's pretty cowardly to just sit here and have no claims, say nothing, so that nobody can press you guys on shit because you try your best not to make any claims.
Why don't you try your best? Like your name says, dude.
You guys are retards, bro. Retards and cowards.
Yeah, we have a claim, but it's not a science claim.
Okay, what's your claim? Let's hear it. You guys, every time I come in here, everybody says, there's no claims. We don't make any claims. We don't make any claims.
No, we do make a claim. The Earth is flat. That's a claim, right?
All right, so defend it. Go ahead.
Is that it?
Prove it. Let's see some science. Let's see some science. Let's see some science. Let's see some science. I don't want to hear your words. I want to see science. I want to see a demonstration. I want to see a model. I want to see a model right now. I don't want to hear you proselytize.
Jesus Christ. Dude, he just said, "Tell me right now, but don't use words." Like,
so you guys just debate people that don't agree with you, and you don't ever put forward your own
What
ideas.
the fuck? Isn't that what a debate is, dumbass?
Bro.
Isn't that what a debate is?
Shut the fuck up! Point out what we do. Shut the fuck up!
I want to debate someone who agrees with me.
Yeah, you debate people you disagree with, dumbass. That's what a debate is.
No. All you guys do is debate. You guys don't put forth your own ideas.
Yeah, we're damn good at it too because we know our shit.
You guys
can't like you. We actually know things.
Yo, win a Nobel Prize.
What did I just say, though?
Anything
what did I just say?
Put any
What did
new
I just
scientific
say?
idea. Any new
What did I just say?
New scientific
What did I just say to Boogie when he said we don't make claims? What did I just say to him?
What's
oh
a
my
new
God, we got
scientific
muted too? Okay, muted. Fucking retards.
You can't get a word in.
Bro. Simple as that. Let me hear your voice. It's our podcast.
Hey, I was here yesterday. I have a question in relation to what you guys were just talking about.
What's the question, man?
The spherical geometry. Do you guys reject spherical geometry?
No. It's not about rejecting spherical geometry. In what regards do you think that has any relation to what we're talking about? In what regards?
I didn't hear what their argument was.
Okay, then. So if you didn't hear the argument, sir, then how do you know it's what the content of what we're saying is supposed to be what it is? Like, you came in here with this rejection of spherical geometry, and you don't even know what we're talking about.
Well, I assumed it had something to do with the Earth being a globe and spherical geometry.
Okay, then. So then if it's in regards to that, then you could at least make it, like, notable that that's what it's talking about, what you're talking about. So we can know at least what the premise is.
Well,
For you to ask the question.
Because you were having the convo, so I was just making sure I was right.
All right. So do you think it has anything to do with the shape of the Earth?
I mean, I'm not sure. I'm asking you.
You're not sure. So you're just a guy wandering around. You don't know if the Earth is a globe. Perhaps it may be. Do you think it is?
I believe it is, yeah.
Okay, and what's your best evidence for that? Do you want to go the route of these guys, or do you want to have your own argument?
Well, no, I wanted to know y'all's worldview. That's what I was.
You don't.
I don't know if you were in here yesterday. I know some of these people were.
It doesn't matter.
I was asking the same stuff.
We're having a different conversation right now. We're trying to figure out if you know if the Earth is a globe or not. We can't talk to you about what we're saying on our side if you don't have a position. You have to have a position at least so that we can talk about if you have a position to be substantiated in any way. So go ahead and provide any evidence for your position.
Yeah, sure. I mean, I make the assumption that it's a globe. I don't really investigate it too much, but I'm curious about your worldview, and that's what I'm trying to ascertain right now, is what your worldview is on this. If anyone wants to, like.
Do you think our position is the same as yours? That we're starting with an assumption?
I mean, I don't know. I'm not going to judge it because I don't really know what your position is.
Well, I mean, you just said, well, I'm just starting with an assumption. I just assume it's true. Why would you assume that?
I mean, for multitude of reasons.
Just give me.
I've never deep dived into the specifics of the proclaimed maths that are involved in it, or the proofs. So I mean, I don't really know firsthand experience whether it is or isn't, because I don't.
Okay, so
I got stuff I do, so I don't really.
So it was social. It was a social reason. It wasn't anything to do with the natural world. It was like somebody said that to you.
Well, yeah, it's like a trust thing. It's kind of like most things.
Yeah.
Like you go to the hospital, you trust that your doctor knows what they're talking about.
This isn't the same thing. That's a false equivalence.
Well, in a sense, I mean, it's a science.
First of all, I don't know why you guys bring up doctors. I'm trusting. No, I don't trust doctors. Medical malpractice is the leading cause of premature death. So that is a bad example.
I mean, I guess for you, but for me, it's just
for the entire country, United States. Medical malpractice is a leading cause of premature death. Something like 100,000 people a year.
Sure, but I would imagine our advances in healthcare.
You can imagine all you want. I'm talking about now.
More lives than any sort of screw ups. I think you and I would agree, right? That hospitals are necessary, right? Like doctors are necessary, right, in society. I think.
Are they?
I would imagine you would. You say you don't agree with that?
Listen, I agree with acute medical care. As far as chronic diseases, not so much. As far as treatment goes, but I'm not going to. We don't want to go down there. The only thing I'm bringing up is you didn't come up with Earth's a globe because of how you perceive the world, how you perceive nature. You weren't like, hey man, I think it's a globe because I saw it or something like that. It's basically someone said to you, trust me, bro, it's a globe, and you're like, yeah, okay.
It's kind of like how you experience most things through your educational life, right? You don't necessarily specialize in one thing. You just kind of learn generally what is the kind of
that's great. NoKnee, that's great. But how were you able to scrutinize your worldview as you already know now? It seems to be somebody has an objection to that idea.
Well, in some sense, that's right now.
Well, that's what I mean, though. So in what way do you think you can actually dive into your worldview and find out whether or not there's any merit to the Earth's shape being what you think it is?
Asking questions that are assumed by me to people who don't accept those things, like I'm doing right now.
All right. So in regards to the surface of the Earth, in what way do you think we can find out whether or not the surface has any curvature? Like they're telling to us with the size of it being, the way it is, with a circumference of 24,901 miles. So over a distance, right, there would be this, drop. So, I mean, I don't know where you're standing, but then you could say from where you are to a target distance, you can pick any arbitrary distance, 10, 15, 20 miles, and then find out if there's any way that you can see in that long distance or not. Perhaps the Earth's curvature is getting in the way. And then there would be at least some evidence that the Earth could be doing some obstruction, something that could prevent you from seeing in the far distance based on its geometric shape. You think that's fair?
Seeing are you saying seeing a curvature on Earth? Like with the naked eye?
No, I mean, if you're trying to see something in a target distance, let's say you say, I want to see a building, 25 miles away, whatever it is. And you set up some equipment to see if you can see the building or not. Perhaps you figure it out over the surface from where you are to the target distance. There's going to be significant amount of curvature that would obstruct your view from seeing that target distance. Now, if that is true, then there would be an obstruction there that would be the Earth that would cause the obstruction that you couldn't see that building in the far distance. Now, if you tested this out, then it would be good enough reason to say that, every time I go and do this test, the Earth will not permit me to see the building at whatever distance. But perhaps you did the test, and then you saw the opposite. Perhaps you saw the building, where the predicted amount of Earth curvature that would obstruct your view wouldn't be there. That would be reason enough for you to say, hey, there's something wrong here. Something doesn't add up. Is that fair?
Possibly. I guess I would have to investigate it more to try and figure out, what's the reasoning why. But yeah.
Yeah, now that's a line of thinking you want to be in. At least you want to start to figure out and reason with yourself, okay, what's going on, right? Something must be occurring that maybe I didn't factor in. So that's what we're talking about right now, is trying to figure out long-distance observations that always show target distances to be visible, whereas the Earth curvature would be in the way, depending on the distance and the observer height and all these other factors. But needless to say, that's why we're all here. There wouldn't be a conversation if there was things that were already debunked. None of us here that are looking at truth and day in, day out having these conversations would have a reason to be like, oh, okay, I'm just rejecting truth now. We're not doing that. We're actually having a conversation, having you guys come in here, try to do the best you can to tell how you know the Earth's a globe. In any way, of course, measurement would be the trump card, but I don't know what you think. And I'm giving you at least long distance observations because everybody can do this anywhere you are.
Do you because I don't know. I mean, I don't know. But what's the Steelman arguments that's usually given as explanations as to why you don't see, say, there's something over horizon of the ocean and you don't see it with the naked eye, but then you zoom in with a camera and you see it. What's usually the Steelman argument to that as to why?
Why we see it after we're not supposed to see it?
Yeah, what's the globe Earth explanation?
No, they'll easily go to refraction, being something that would bend light enough so that the object that you're trying to see beyond the Earth's curvature obstruction be able to be loomed up over the curvature of the Earth and be able to see by that person who's zooming in, so to speak.
I assume you reject that?
That's almost like the standard rebuttal to that, but there's no basis for it, right? Because they're using what's considered to be standard refraction. That's an equation, actually, when you look into it, right? And the equation has the radius of the Earth baked into it. So if you're looking at this equation and trying to figure out using the standard refraction, which of course is not standard at all, because you couldn't be able to determine whether or not where you're standing and the target distance in between you, between the distance between you and the target distance, how much of distortion there would be. All you can tell is what you see in the far distance and the distortion that occurs when you're viewing something at a far distance. So you couldn't tell the amount of disturbance that would be between you and the target. So it's not something that you can put down as we figured out what how much refraction there would be, because that thing is it's not what it's supposed to be according to the way people propose it as. And then using it as light bending and such like that, there's no way to tell, man, what you're working with. You can only get these optical phenomena categorized in such a way I see something happening, I see a bit of distortion, I'm going to categorize it like this superior mirage that's occurring or whatever it is, right? So you have to be in the right mindset to actually investigate what it is that you're seeing and then to tell in a category what kind of category you're going to put it in. Whether you say it's a specific miraging effect or what it is. But just to say that it's Earth curvature, that's not going to be the end all. You can't just say that with everything, because there's obviously optical phenomena that occurs off in the far distance when you're looking over long distance. Does that make sense so far?
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense. But when you come to your conclusions of the ways in which these works, I mean, at least I heard you say a few times that it doesn't work that way, or maybe they can't do something. How are you coming to those conclusions? Is it?
Well, yeah. No, think about it. Go ahead.
They'll admit it when pressed. Because they'll say, hey, we have a model of refraction that says, hey, this can happen. But then okay, you have this model. Show us where it's used to make any accurate prediction. In fact, if it's a deterministic model, you should be able to reverse it, right? You should be able to take a picture of something in the distance, right? If you know the geometry, where the camera is, where the building is, how far away it is, and all those details, you could look at the image and determine what the meteorological conditions of that day were from a photograph. Because the variables that cause refraction are the meteorological conditions, right?
Do you think that there's
you'd be able to reverse engineer it from the photograph?
For say refraction, for instance, our understanding of refraction and how it works. Do you think that there's any sort of like mathematical or like scientific basis behind?
I just gave it to you. There's no basis for it as far as when we're talking about terrestrial refraction, very specific. We're not talking about refraction as a general phenomenon like eyeglasses and fiber optic cables. We're not talking about that. We're talking about a very specific thing: terrestrial refraction. They claim terrestrial refraction. Pick shit up over the horizon, and if you see something that's too far, that's some refracted image of that thing picked up over the horizon. There's no evidence for that, and there's no evidence it's even possible.
That's why we reject that, NoKnee.
Yeah, they can't even provide evidence it's even possible.
Yeah, so
right? Because you're talking about taking shit up a mile or fucking 400 feet, right? Up over the curb, and like it not appearing as distorted, inverted, or any other thing, right? It just all looks normal. It just happens to be refraction, making a perfect lens fucking image. That's not how it works, dude. It's just like, it's not how lenses work. It's not how anything like that works. It's just an ad hoc excuse because it's not a globe. Sorry. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, there's similar distortion that occurs. I think Indio has this RC boat that he shows in the video that at a specific distance, I think it's 1,000 yards away, that it starts to disappear. Almost the same type of
1,000 feet.
1,000 feet.
1,000 yards.
So 1,000 feet, NoKnee. So the same type of optical phenomena occurs using a smaller distance, right? And so we'd witness the same type of disappearance from the bottom up, and not even the distance that you would need for the geometric curve of the Earth to be present. So we can witness the same type of phenomena happening to a lesser degree on a small scale. I don't know how that strikes you, but that should at least give you some indication that what we're working with here is not Earth curve.
And so let's say, okay, so like for me as the example, right? If someone doesn't have like a in-depth understanding of like the mathematics or the science behind any of these terms that are being used, do you or like the flat Earth community have sort of like data or like research papers or something like demonstrations that can be shown to kind of say like this is a direct?
Yes, we do. We have PhD paperwork. Yep, from PhDs. Is that good enough?
Yeah, sure. Could you link it?
Post some Dr.
First of all, that's not how it works. Okay, they're the ones claiming, right, that when we see something that's too far, it's an optical illusion. They need the evidence. We don't need to disprove it. They need to get the evidence that proves it's possible. And they can't. You know how many Globers have tried this? They have to use like dry ice, right, to even prove that you can deflect light this much. They have to use dry ice. Now, what's the problem there? CO2 has a higher refractive index than regular air. It's also super cold. So you're creating like a 100 degrees Celsius per inch temperature gradient, which is non-physical in the regular world, right? Or they'll use an iron, or they'll use butane, which has a higher refractive. They can't demonstrate that this is even possible. It doesn't matter what they write down in equations. The equations don't allow, and experiments don't allow them to get the result they need to make this possible.
Well, right, but like what you just said right there, where they're making a claim and they present what they would call evidence for their claim.
No, they don't have any evidence. There's no evidence, dude. There's none. Well, dude, listen, I've read every paper on terrestrial refraction going back 150 years at least. There is no evidence. None.
Well, I mean, maybe you don't accept it as evidence, but they would call it evidence, right?
No, they wouldn't. What would evidence be? It would be experiments, right?
So, like the dry ice.
Would evidence be experiments? Would the evidence, or would it be experiments?
Yeah, so like the experiment. Okay. I think you mentioned something. There's
no experiments.
Dry ice, right?
Yeah, those are Goldberg. Those are anti-flat earthers that have done stuff like that. Just try and show that it's possible. They use things like dry ice to try and deflect the laser.
So, wait, so are you saying that there's never been an experiment done ever to show this stuff by globe people?
That the amount, right, that the deflection required is possible. Okay,
it would be considered extreme refraction, like
extreme, because it's not close. Like we're talking like refraction, which is 20 times what the claimed radius is, or in the case of the black swan, fucking hundreds of times.
So I would imagine, I haven't searched myself because like I'm just now talking about this, right? But like I would imagine that there would be something behind what they're saying. Not necessarily that I'm not saying it's true. I'm just saying that they would have something they would present, and then you're saying, well, no, what you're presenting is actually false, and this is the reason.
They don't have anything. They don't have anything.
I know
what we're trying to tell you, man.
I know it's hard to believe because it seems like you have a trust-based worldview that there's no evidence to support it. When I say evidence, I mean measurements, experiments, things like that. That's what I'm talking about evidence. Physical evidence, because science is empirical. So there's no physical evidence that shows any model, any model ever invented by man to quantify refraction, matches their model. None of the experiments match the model. I'll give you an example. So a group of scientists went to use LiDAR, right? So, LiDAR, it'll measure the distances and shit. Two frequency LiDAR.
Yeah.
So anyways, infrared, right? So
go ahead.
Okay, whatever. That's not important. So they measured the amount of refraction, right? So they're using two frequency LiDAR, so they can measure the difference between the angle of arrival of the lasers and say, hey, based upon what we know about refraction, this is how much refraction. The greatest deviation that they measured, right, was 4 mgon, which equals mgon is a unit of measure they use because it was in Europe. So it's equivalent to 0.0027 degrees. So that means at 25 miles away, an object would be picked up 8 feet.
Okay.
8 feet. Now this is the max value they measured under the worst conditions. It's not the average value because they actually measured it over a period of 48 hours. Right? How this landslide moved down. So this is the maximum value they measured during the entire test. Was 4 mgon, just 0.0027 degrees. So it's 8 feet. So the max you can get is 8 feet. At 25 miles away, the drop should be something should be dropped down as 427 feet. Okay. Now think about that. 8 feet is their max value.
Wait, did I lose you or did?
He did. I think he's having trouble.
Oh fuck! They got him.
FBI, open up.
CB used to have that sound clip.
FBI, open up.
There you go.
CB is slow on the sound clips.
Yeah.
And that's an interesting sophistry technique there, to ask you what your opponent would say, and then just to keep asking that, and then to use what you told them against you.
Was that a response to me? So,
Indio, did you hear that?
I think he's having trouble with his internet, it seems.
Oh, gotcha. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. No, it's just listening to that guy do that to Indio was quite interesting.
I don't know. It may be the case. I don't know.
are you talking about me? Do you think I'm being bad faith?
Yeah, people are hyper aware that when others come in here, they use certain tactics to kind of not be held accountable to the things they say. So they use instances of like being somebody who's just inquisitive. So yeah, it's just that. I didn't get any vibes from this, but I don't know. Some people might pick something up, and I'm usually the one that picks it up quick.
I mean, I can understand like if it's a common occurrence that you might have some level of like skepticism of someone's intentions, but I mean, I'm genuinely just asking.
I guess my radar is usually in tune when somebody starts saying certain keywords. That's what triggers it. Other than that, it just seems like somebody's every other day, you know.
Yo, sorry, anyway, my headset died, man.
Yeah,
I was talking for like another 5 minutes.
Oh shit! Try again, man. Your shit's coming.
Try a new one.
Where did I end off here? Like, I don't even know.
Oh, dude. Rewind like 3 minutes.
You were saying like there was like some maximum like.
The maximum. Yeah, the maximum. Like 0.002. If you calculate out how much.
That Bluetooth shit ain't working, Indio.
Yeah, a wired microphone.
I had one, but I broke them.
Well, if you can hear me, could you said like you can calculate out this stuff. Do you happen to have that math on hand so I can look at it? Or do you know where I could find it? Where like the calculations have been done to prove that like...
Oh, how to calculate an angle?
Oh, well, like to say that like the calculations don't match up.
Okay,
like,
yeah. So what I'll do... Well, I mean, what I'll do is... Okay, I'll post a curve calculator. So it'll give you, like, you put in the zipper height, all that shit. It'll give you how much drop there's in, etc. So that's one thing I'll give you. I'll a link to, like, an angle. God damn it, I can see my mic is dying.
Yeah, it's fucking up, bro.
Damn it. I'll just push it in the chat.
Yeah, like, if you just post anything that shows me, like, how, like, the math isn't mathing, if you know what I mean.
You gotta run to Best Buy today, bro. Or fucking whatever they have over there in Boston. Target or fucking Walmart.
GoFundMe for Indio.
So I guess because like he can't really engage just because of his mic's fucked up. For other people, like a non mathematic question. I asked this yesterday, but it was like a different group of people. I know this Jenna person was in here before. But like, what's kind of like the consensus of like the flat Earth community as to like why this is something that's taught? I was told that it's almost akin to like a religion. Would that be?
Globe is a religion. Yes, it's a belief system.
Definitely, yeah. It's basically it keeps your mind thinking about not going anywhere because everything's already been explored and discovered. So you just live in a world that has its parameters already set for you.
Like North Korea, they think that we all live in poverty. Just watched a special on it yesterday.
So is like the idea is that it's like who set up this religion per se? Like what's like do we know what their intent is of like what?
I mean, obviously, for anybody that's going to propagate this is going to have a form of control over you, man, because it's a narrative, right? So anybody that has the keys to that, like that is an arbiter for this, like let's say the education system, you can think of them being one that arbitrates this information. Like you have to go to school to find out if get educated to find out the Earth's globe or whatever. So there's these gatekeepers that do that. So you'd have to go there, learn from those guys, and then of course if you want higher learning, you go to college and find out more information if you want to study astronomy and cosmology and all that shit. So you'll get involved with it a little bit deeper, like some of these scientific communicators are and so forth. So, but what it is, dude, is just it's a system of control. So it keeps your mind thinking of cosmology being something like a globe spinning in the vacuum of space. So all your mind is focused on is where you are in the world, right? You're just like a little tiny person in this huge giant globe. So it's just controlling your mind, dude. It's what it does. Because obviously outside of that, you think this is a dying planet, or no, you wouldn't think it's a dying planet. You wouldn't think of killer asteroids. You wouldn't think of, we're running out of resources, or, there's overpopulation or any of that shit. You wouldn't think of none of that if you knew what the Earth actually was. So it's like
climate change and asteroids, they don't exist. Don't worry about it. Also, Indio posted shit for you in chat, your formulas and shit you wanted.
Oh, I see. I won't do it right now because I want to keep talking, but yeah, I'll open up all the links.
Yeah. A waste of time then.
Well, no, I'm going to open them up. Yeah, but he can't talk.
Gotta make sure we're not going to give people anything they ask for anymore. He's just ruined it. He ruined it for everybody.
I opened it up. I mean, I don't want to just stop talking long. And then sit here doing math.
Long. It's 6 pages long.
So because I mean this is interesting. So I'm curious. So this is obviously something that's like a pardon my French, a global conspiracy, right? Like this is something that is accepted worldwide as far as I could tell. Like no. Like China and Russia and
is there any resistance? NoKnee, is there any resistance to this information that you know of? Like when people first hear about it, is there any resistance? And you have to ask,
it seems like it's accepted worldwide, right?
Right, but you have to think about it. Like when does this information start to get propagated to a mind? When they're very young, right? Obviously.
Okay. Yeah, you learn about it, yeah.
Right. So when you're young, you're impressionable. Things that you hear, you take them for what it is, and so you build up this mindset thinking that's just the way things are, and then all of a sudden later on, when we ask people like that come into this channel, how do you know if the Earth is a globe? They do not have an answer of how to articulate how they know what they know. They just say, well, Earth's round, man. How do you know it's round? Well, scientists, it's like deer in headlights. They have no knowledge of anything of globe, nothing. So it's really a bankrupt religion. There's nothing that you can actually retort back to how you know the Earth's a globe. Even you know that by what I was asking you. It's like, what can I say?
Yeah, like most people are not going to get super in depth of the mathematics of this. They have lives, they're doing other stuff. They probably don't care, honestly.
Well, that's the thing, though. So why then know about something that you don't even have any knowledge on? Not even a little, not even topical information. You could say, well, the Earth.
I'm staying agnostic, but I mean, I'm just my preconceived notions is that it's a globe, but I mean, I'm agnostic to it.
Yeah, it's fine. That's fine. But if there isn't any evidence for it, it's just a fantasy that everybody wants to believe in. Because that's all. At the end of the day, it is just a fantasy. They imagine themselves traveling to other worlds and populating those things, and it's all kinds of stuff. But it's more than anything, it's a fantasy.
So. You said that I guess the intention behind why this was created was to control people's minds.
Yeah.
Do we have any idea of who these original creators were, or what it is that they're trying to?
Well, okay. Do? Yeah, people started printing school books.
Yep.
Well, this idea's been around for what, a couple thousand years?
Yeah. Right? Think about this. Think about this. What religion propagated this information? I mean, you can look into
I heard the Catholics.
Yeah, I know, but you can look into history and find out who was saying what. What were the ancient Greeks talking about? The ones that sitting in a council, and who were the people, the names? Who were they that were talking about this idea?
Are you trying to say the Jews, man? Just say the Jews. If you're going to say come on, dude.
How did that guy get off mute? All right, yeah, but think about it, man.
45 minutes was up.
God, man, that thing needs to be longer.
Is that what you're alluding to? What he said, or no? Or are you saying?
No. He said something. He said something else. No, I'm talking about people's names. Look at the figureheads.
I don't know. Who would be Galileo?
Yeah, think about it. Pythagoras.
Yeah.
He had a whole cult, dude. Yeah, Pythagoras was one.
Yeah.
So, why do you think he said what he said? Eratosthenes, another one.
Oh.
So, I guess
Al-Biruni, that's another one.
So it's the story, the history, right? It's this cult was formulated for some reason, power, wealth, control.
Sure.
And
mysticism,
it's continued in the hands of some higher level of power of people in our society.
Yeah.
It's constantly
essentially it's occultism. If you get down to the roots of it, heliocentric, the sun god Helios, all of it's steeped in occultism, all of it. The planets are named after, gods. Jupiter, Mars, Venus. Come on, bro. Like, it's not really hard to realize the history of all this stuff that you think about. It's like from the Earth being a globe, the cosmos. Like, all this stuff is steeped in occultism. I mean, what else?
Are these people? I mean, because they obviously have control of like the world. It's not like they just have control of America, right? They have control of every country.
You control the media. You control the population. Take a look at 4 years ago.
Yeah,
you control the media. You control the population.
Do you think that these people are like violent?
Oh, what is wrong with you?
Well, because I'm wondering how you guys survived.
Wow, that's crazy.
Critical thinking.
It shows the way you think about it. It shows the way like you think things should happen now.
Well, no, I'm saying like if there's this global cabal, right, that's been going on for generation after generation of power and control, that it's literally taken over the entire planet, right? But they still allow for.
I don't agree with you.
Oh, so wait, I thought that's what we just established.
No, it's not.
Is that not what we just established?
Earth is flat. They just want
no,
you to think
I'm not making a claim on the shape of Earth. I'm making a claim on there's a cult that exists that is in power. Is that not what
the globe cultist.
You
right.
are making it sound black and white.
Wait, Tina, it's what I'm saying. It's what I'm saying is that there's if we agree that there's a cult that is in power of the whole planet, not shape, the planet, but yet I'm trying to figure out like why it is that they allow for even just like this Discord or for people like you guys to talk. Is it like
they don't? They've gotten rid of everything. In 2020, they wiped the internet of our shit. We had to start restoring everything and putting it all back. And we kept everything anyway, so we still have everything. How do you like that? We have our own supply, our own servers that you can't touch, that they could not get rid of shit from.
But wouldn't a cult that controls all of the world's like wealth and power have access to be able to like get rid of whatever servers that you've backed up things, or even just straight up like kill members that are important?
Oh, you can't hunt me down, grab my USB drive, and then smash it. No.
Why couldn't they?
Which drive are you gonna? Where are you gonna look for my drives at?
Well, I mean, I don't know if that's relevant. Like, couldn't they just like anytime they pick up any information that you're disseminating this false?
All they have to do is show a launch on TV. That's all people care about seeing is people floating upside down and waving and smiling and doing their weird shit TikTok dances in outer space. That's what people care about.
So do you think that like this cult is like not concerned with you guys? Like you're not like threatening enough to where they have to like address it?
No, they just wipe the internet clean.
What did they do? What do you mean, like wipe the internet? I'm not familiar.
Made everybody's counts from millions go down to you got 1,000 people watching, or you got no people watching. You've got a total of 40,000 views when you had 2 million before. Stuff like that. All the numbers changed.
Really? Did you guys collect evidence to like so you could show?
How are we going to predict that was going to happen? Take screenshots beforehand. Take screenshots.
I mean, I would imagine that like if you thought that the world was controlled by something and you're directly opposing their ideology, which is what's keeping them in power, that you would take measures to make sure that any sort of stuff. I mean, you did say like you backed up all the information, so it was kind of a pointless effort. But when it comes to like skewing numbers on views or maybe skewing algorithms, I imagine you guys would like save some of that data, because that would be like silver bulletproof, right? That
What
you
if,
show
what if
new
we
people.
showed you a video? Oh, somebody just posted it. Flat Lloyd posted it. Go ahead and watch that 1 minute clip. And that's a hearing on suppressing flat Earth. Go ahead, watch that. That's the government.
Okay, 1 second, I'm playing it. Okay, I finished the video. So their argument is they're trying to attack what they call like misinformation or conspiracies, and how they're doing it is by like putting notices on the videos to say that it's not like true, and that they're maybe changing the algorithm to not promote that type of.
That's correct. If you look at Flat Earth on YouTube, the first thing you're going to get is anti-Flat Earth videos.
Okay, but they still allow you to stay around and talk about it?
Yeah, but if it's demoted, what?
You know what? You should go report us, I think.
Why do you think that? Why do you think they allow you to stay around?
I think you should report us.
I mean, I don't want to report you. I like people who speak their minds and speak about things that they believe in. Like, what?
You mean speak the truth?
Well, just speak about what you believe to be true. I mean, it's kind of irrelevant what it is.
God, you whine a lot, bro.
I'm not whining.
Why are we? Oh, this is your normal way of going about speaking. God help you. Yeah, why are we able to keep talking about this? Because people like you, they hope people like you would just whine it out.
No, I'm not. So do they like maybe believe that like this I guess counter narrative, right, that you guys have is pushing against the hegemonic narrative that they want to keep, but they don't believe that you have the mechanisms.
Pushing against it, it wrecks it.
You don't have like the mechanisms of power to be able to truly affect enough people. So instead of just like terminating you, right? Like, because I would imagine someone like that powerful would be able to just kill you, like, right? It would be easy, right?
Oh, believe me, it's a thorn in the lion's paw, bro.
Listen, so instead of doing that, they just silence you.
You watch a lot of movies to think people are going to sneak up and break into my house and try to kill me.
Listen, bro, they can't.
The neighbors aren't going to let people wander around my property, number one, at all.
For you and everybody else to go and examine. They can't hide it. It's a pointless endeavor to try.
I mean, it seems as if the vast majority of the population doesn't believe that the Earth is flat. Anything, we're little like bumbling apes, right?
You still know the same amount.
And we look at a volcano, right? And we don't really know what it is. We just see that this giant rock formation is suddenly.
Everybody grab your pillows and blankets.
Is suddenly erupting, right?
He's going to tell us a story about earth balls with cores that shoot liquid rock out through the top like a fountain.
Wait, do you reject volcanoes too?
Why do they always go to volcanoes? Who's training these people?
I don't know. Volcanoes exist, so do earthquakes, and the Earth is flat. Now, what do you do about it?
Okay, well, no, I don't think you knew what my point was. I think you were trying to get ahead before you let me finish.
I already know. I've played this game too long. Now you're on to volcanoes.
What was my point?
Dude, this is a script you guys do. You might change it around a little tiny bit. It's always the same.
What was my point?
Let him finish. Let him say what it is. Calm down, bro.
No, it's a strange long game. Somehow back to the core of the Earth, some molten iron core, and then it goes gravity, right?
Well, actually, no.
Dude, let him finish what he wants to say. Then you can make fun of him, dude. Calm down. Don't get your pants in a bunch.
You'll find that wasn't making fun of him. It's pretty accurate. There's no other reason he would bring up volcanoes. Makes no sense.
Let's hear your volcano shit.
Always hypothetical.
Let's hear the volcano.
What I'm trying to demonstrate with the volcano is that early humans were looking at something. I'm relating it to dark matter. I'll give you the plot. Right?
Yeah, because we all know about early humans.
We're looking at a volcano. I mean, you and I can speculate that we didn't know everything at all times. Eventually, we have to learn things, right? So we look at a volcano. We don't necessarily know what we're seeing. We're seeing some rocks that are exploding, and our early human brains are trying to figure out what this is. So we're saying like, oh, that rock formation's angry. It must be like a creature like us that's mad at something. So we give it these descriptors, right, for the volcano. And then as time goes on, we start to realize more and more, we learn more and more about the volcano, and we start to update our descriptors for it. We start to say, well, actually, no, it's not like a deity, like a human.
It's not angry. It's just incredibly pissed.
It's just natural processes that we can explain, and this is what they are, and tectonic plates, maybe blah 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 blah. Right. My point is that this same process, this is a sort of scientific process in which we see something, we observe something in the world, and then we make predictions about it. We give it characteristics.
So why is it so difficult for you to give evidence that the Earth is a globe?
And so then,
if they figured out volcanoes 500 trillion years ago, why haven't you got around to figuring out else the Earth's a globe? Riddle me that.
And then in relation to, I mean, technically people have been proving it. You just reject the proofs.
Define technically.
Okay, literally, people have been proving it. You reject the proofs, is all.
Yeah, I think you categorize wishful thinking and circular reasoning as technical, literal.
Well, anyways, just to wrap up the point is that right now we have this phenomena we're observing in the universe. And like he said, like there's this margin of error in our calculations. We don't understand what it means, so we're giving it a label of some sort. That's kind of like a placeholder until our science advances more and understanding advances more, and then we can better understand what is actually happening, what we're actually seeing. And if we want to, we can update our language. We can give it a different name.
No, what happened was Dr. Pepper was waving something off as being massively wrong as a margin of error, and you gobbled it up.
Well,
you originally started. You said, "I've heard people say that the globe is similar, akin to a religion." Do you see why that is now?
Yeah, that is where this conversation started. But conversations.
Yeah. So is it becoming clear to you why we see you as a religious zealot, a group of them?
I mean, but like.
I don't think you're mean.
I can understand. No, I can understand why you would say that. Sure.
Okay. Well, question answered. We'll get that off the checklist. Now, what's your best proof that Earth's a globe?
I mean, I don't really know. I don't study this. That's why when I originally came in here, I was just trying to.
Thank God you've been making excuses for it for the last 45 minutes.
Now that you study flat Earth, you don't have to worry about the globe anymore, do you?
I was trying to understand your world.
How you know the Earth is flat, so you can go tell your friends.
Well, Rad, if I go to one sermon of a church, I wouldn't just immediately convert to that church. That's not typically how it works.
This is the ultimate church for you. Then we have all the answers. It's flat. And get over it. That's the answer.
Well, I'm looking for other answers as to like explanations of like
we
what
don't have imagination answers that the globe has. We just don't know. How's that? Things we don't know, things we do know. Things we don't know, we don't give a shit about.
But it seems like it goes beyond just saying you're agnostic to it. It seems like you're saying also that whatever they present as being proof or facts, that they're actually wrong.
Dude, we just figured out the Earth is flat. Why don't you have some patience? So What are the stars? Tell me them. Tell me now. I mean, dude, patience.
What did they present as proof?
Do you want me to go through like
just choose one?
2,000 years of just like different
choose
mathematical.
Just choose one. Start at the beginning. What's the first one?
I mean, I guess, do you reject everything surrounding Newtonian gravity?
Just pick something.
Because you say gravity is fake, right? Like that's not real.
Just choose one thing, and we'll have a look at it.
Sure, like Newtonian gravity. Do you accept it or reject it?
Is there any scientific evidence for it?
Debunked it. Remember? I put your water, dropped it from in a box, and it turned into a ball. I removed the air pressure, and the water turned into gas. No gravity. So when your cup is sitting on your counter, and I bring my vacuum chamber out, the water that's sitting in it you assume is being pulled down by gravity. I put it in the vacuum chamber, remove the air pressure, the water disappears because the gravity didn't pull it down. I debunked your gravity for the 10th time. Don't talk about gravity pulling things down anymore.
In addition to that,
one thing that I know that Newtonian...
One sec. In addition to that, your own side rejects it.
No, it still makes
your astrophysicists and your theoretical physicists that you appeal to, yeah, they reject Newtonian physics.
Well, no, Newtonian gravity, but it's been added upon by Einstein, like Einstein.
No, it wasn't added upon. It was rejected.
It wasn't rejected, no.
Yes, it was. Yes, it was.
I don't think anybody in the scientific community rejects it.
Deemed incorrect. Go and look into it.
Incomplete.
Bro.
Incomplete.
No, not incomplete. Incorrect. Go and look into it. You don't know what you're talking about.
So, one of the predictions that at least I know of that comes from Newtonian gravity is
listen to him just reset. It's kind of creepy, bro.
Parabolic paths, like with say cannonballs or missiles or any sort of like falling objects. Newtonian gravity has been able to predict the way in which these objects will travel and fall if you know the parameters. So that's one way in which like the mathematics that come from that model has been able to predict something we can observe in the world.
Shooting a missile or a cannonball over and over and over and measuring and then coming up with something. Not, we got a cannonball, it weighs this much. If I shoot it, it's going to land here. That doesn't happen.
That's not how that works. They usually come up with a prediction, then they experiment. They don't experiment, then predict.
Yeah, so now we're going to say we need this much black powder. So we've done this a bunch of times, so now we know this weight cannonball and this much black powder at this angle will make it land here if there's no wind. Because we did it over and over again. Why do you think when they range shit, they like shoot? Oh, no, you got to go up 1 degree. Okay, to the right 2 degrees. Okay, now fire. Okay, now, oh, no, you're off again. Go back 1 degree. Go up 1 more degree. Oh, you're closer. Let's go up again. Why do you think they do that?
Because having exact, precise measurements in a changing environment is challenging, so you might have irregularities in your experiments.
But it's not predictable.
Well, they usually are with a margin of error.
Different elements drop at different rates in a vacuum. Now we're going to really hurt your head.
Is there anything in like does your skepticism only apply to
reality,
science insofar as like certain fields, or is it like all fields of science?
Wow. So science? Go ahead and give me the definition of science.
No, now he wants us to start licking boots with them. Save us.
What's a scientific field? So what do we got? We got physics.
Well, like,
chemistry,
yeah, sure,
biology,
physics.
Right?
Like, are you typically skeptical of like physics or all of physics or parts of it?
That's a crazy question. I work in a physics lab. Jesus.
You're skeptical of the stuff that you work
I'm skeptical of the work I do every day. I'm like, oh my God, this can't be right because the Earth is flat. This wouldn't happen if the Earth was flat. I'd go every day, I get in my car and cry. What do you think of that?
Oh, well, are you? I don't know. I've heard of people who were flat earthers and also geology majors, so I mean, it's not unreasonable.
And why does that matter? Does geology mean Earth is a ball?
Well, from my understanding, a lot of the foundations of the roots.
No, it doesn't come from that at all. They've only dug down 7.6 miles. Geology doesn't know shit. And they were wrong all the way down that hole, the geologists. What do you think of that? All the way down, they were wrong on what they're going to find next.
Every sentence. I'm just trying to have a conversation about this stuff.
I know. I've heard it millions of times. I just want to have a conversation. I'm not trying to prove anything. We're telling you exactly what's going on, reality, and you're denying it. Are you a science denier?
Well, actually, I haven't seen any science be done here, so I don't know what you're talking about.
Oh. Okay, so what I suggest is go on YouTube, look at water in a vacuum chamber, and then come back, and there's some science for you.
What about other fields that build upon our understanding of stuff like chemistry?
Like, name something.
Like medicine. Do you generally believe in like Western?
Yeah, off topic. Yeah, dude, I knew you were going to do this.
Fucking medical shit.
He wants us to lick boots with him.
So you don't, is what you're saying, old?
Shut a dude. No, I do not lick boots. Correct.
I'm saying, do you like believe, generally speaking, in like Western?
None of your business, dude.
Yeah, we're not going to talk about medicine in here. How's that? We're not going to talk about medicine in here. How do you like that? Come up with a better example.
A lot, I guess.
I mean, what do you think about the designated hitter in the National League? I mean,
yeah, I don't like
that. That's kind of
that.
a stupid position, honestly. I mean, it's like, why do we have a position that like this person, that's all his job is to hit the ball instead of?
I don't think he should be. If he's a pitcher, I don't think he should be hitting the ball. His arm does enough during the game. He doesn't need to hit the ball too.
I mean, Ohtani would refute that, but sure.
And that's all on a flat Earth, dude.
According to you, sure.
No, according to measurements.
Well, measurement. I guess.
No, that a non-flat earther made that we discovered and said, haha, you debunked your own globe.
It doesn't seem like that's the reality, but I mean, like you said, it could just be one massive cult that the vast majority of the world is just in agreement with.
Dude, it's on TV every day, all day long. Every commercial almost has a globe in it, a rocket, some kind of weird space shit. Of just a picture of a globe and a desk in the background somewhere. They always have shit like that. Movies, all the TV shows talk about shit all the time through your social media feed. SpaceX this and that, NASA this and that. Asteroids are 14 giraffes wide, and they're heading towards Earth. Why do you use 14 giraffes if you're not trolling the globers?
So
I mean, listen to you. It has you bringing up Katy Perry.
So does this?
They trolled you
some
so
sort
much.
of weird cult for sure, bro.
You think a pop star floats in outer space? They trolled you so much.
Does this globe conspiracy supersede other issues that the world has with each other, like superpowers?
We broke this guy. He wants to talk about superpowers now. I have superpowers. You know what mine are? Debunking the globe.
Well, what I said was, does this supersede issues that, say, like the U.S. and China have with each other? In other words, China seems to agree that it's a globe, and the U.S. agrees it's a globe, and Russia.
How do you know? Is that what you saw on TV? That's what I saw on TV. So it must be real.
Well, no. What I'm saying is that it seems like even though we're enemies, right? Like you would think that traditionally the U.S. and China are enemies, right?
No, I don't think that. Especially since some of our buildings are in China, so we don't have to pay tariffs. I don't think we're at war with China. No, we can freely travel back and forth. They can come here.
Okay,
and
what
we can
about
go there.
I'll give a more extreme example. Then Russia.
We can freely travel back and forth to Russia. How do you like that?
Okay, Russia and Ukraine. I mean, the examples are
I'm
relevant.
not Ukrainian. Use my example.
You get my point, right?
Oh, I don't get your point. That's on TV too.
Okay.
That's a food
pick a
grab
specific
anyway.
time in
That's a
history,
land
so then the
grab for
point,
food. Land
so
grab
then the
for
point makes
farming.
more sense, I guess. Let's say it's Soviet Russia times, right? Cold War times, and we're
More propaganda. Yes, more propaganda that was on TV and the radio and the newspapers. Go ahead. Let's hear about it.
Well, it seems as if that the Soviets believed in a round Earth, and the Americans believed in a round Earth, and we were in direct conflict with one another as enemies.
How do you know this? How do you know all this?
Hypotheticals, all hypotheticals.
How do you know all this? Are you telling me
that the USSR and America were enemies? That's a
yes. How do you know all this? Answer me.
Historical.
What? Historical what?
Wars.
What war did we shoot at Russia with? I thought they were with us.
The Cold War. I'm talking about the Cold War.
Oh, not a war. Just a war in newspapers is what you're telling me. TV and newspapers back then. That's what it was. TV and newspaper. It was propaganda for you to go.
It was more of a war of
rah,
ideology.
USA.
It was a war of communism versus capitalism.
Yeah, right.
Of like which ideology would be the like global ideology. What I'm saying is, it sounds like the global conspiracy supersedes even this battle of ideologies. Like maybe they disagree on the way you should form a government or economic policies, but they do agree that we need to still say the Earth is a globe together.
Yeah, that's right. Just like they agree with we can't let anybody get into Antarctica and freely and independently explore it.
Yeah, we'll have 88 countries sign a treaty that says you need about 50 different signatures or be in some kind of a group that you already got approved through to go there.
So I'm guessing the answer is yes. That like the globe conspiracy supersedes everything. That's like the primal like thing that all of these powers have in common, that they're using this one thing to control us, and then everything else is just kind of like underneath that. It's like sub issues.
Based on past behaviors, all television broadcasts should be suspect, just based on past behaviors that have already been declassified. So the CIA should automatically be, and just different governments, agencies should be complicit in your thought process just based on their past behaviors. That's already been documented. they've been working against the American people and all the people of the world for a long time, and it's well documented. And why should we suspect that they stopped based on their past behavior?
Wait, does that answer what I was asking?
Yes. All news is suspect. All news is suspect.
Okay, but so you're saying that despite any sort of divides that people of the world might have with one another, there still is this like overarching like cabal. Like I don't know another word to say for it. That is like that's the dictator of the world,
That
and then
doesn't even
below that
necessarily
is
have
all
to
the
be
like.
true, bro.
Wait, what?
It doesn't even necessarily have to be fucking true.
Wait, what doesn't
Oh,
have to be
God.
true? That there's like minor. Okay, correct me if I'm wrong. From my understanding from talking to people earlier about this was that the entire reason that this thing is happening, this cult,
We're not
it was
a
called
fucking
a
mob
cult.
mentality. We're not a mob mentality. You're going to find different views from different people. We're individuals who understand that the Earth is flat and motionless.
Okay.
Right?
What's your?
We're not a cult. We're not a
I'm
religion,
curious then.
not a club. We didn't sign an agreement. We don't all go, yes, this must be the case on every single thing to do with reality, blah, blah, blah. We have conflicting viewpoints, right? So you're going to find different viewpoints from different people concerning different things. The main thing that we don't agree upon is the nature of the geometry of the surface that we live on.
Okay. So like I don't know if you were here or not. I know some people in here were. Like the way I originally started this conversation was just asking kind of like, well, actually past when I started talking to Indio about like mathematics stuff, I was asking kind of like, what's the idea here? Like, why is it that this is happening? Why has this globe Earth been pushed on people? And the consensus seems to be that there's a cult, that there's like a cult religion that
it's a religion, yeah.
Yeah, a cult religion that's trying to control like the world's wealth and power.
Not necessarily.
Oh, so you disagree with that part?
Disagree with what? Like, what do you mean? Disagree with what?
Well, what would, in your idea of it, or your explanation of it, like
what do you mean idea of a flat surface?
Yeah, why did we go from flat Earth to round Earth? Why did that transition happen, and why is that like that cult? Why was that made?
Well, you got to work out whether it did or not first, right?
Well, apparently it did. That's what I hear. Consensus.
Well, you still believe in a globe, don't you?
Well, I'm trying to figure out if I'm in a cult, and I'm trying to figure out what's the intentions, or at least what your idea of the intentions are.
So why do you need to know the intentions if you still don't know whether you live on a globe or not?
Well, I'm just curious as to why in which they would be doing that. Like, what is?
Well, how are you going to come to a conclusion on that?
I want to know your thoughts on it. I don't necessarily.
How are we going to come to a conclusion on that?
Well, people already have it here, actually. The person, well, he's not in here anymore. It was like AV or something like that. He was saying that.
Was that his opinion, or was he saying this is the truth?
Well, I started off the conversation saying like what's kind of the general consensus among flat earthers as to like what this is, and when he said that, I think a couple other people like spoke up and kind of agreed that it's like a religion, a cult, if you will, that took over, and the idea. Someone kept playing a soundboard. I don't know who it is if he's still in here, doing like a money like cha-ching, saying that like the purpose of the cult was to have power and money and influence over the world, and it started back in like ancient.
That's normally why people have control, isn't it?
Right. So I'm just asking, like, is that do you subscribe to that or no?
I don't really. It doesn't concern me. So I look at if it is
the world is being convinced of a lie.
Yeah, because I'm never going to come to a conclusion on whether it's true or not. So I'm not going to waste my energy trying to work out if there's some hidden hand controlling our lives at every little whim. Right? I'm going to look at the facts. I'm going to look at. I didn't finish my sentence. I'm going to look at the facts and I'm going to say, is this a flat surface that I live on, or is this a globe? Right? You got to work out if there is a lie to know to even start to think about whether why the reason.
You guys hear me? Mic check.
Yes, Cyclone.
Yes, but he's talking and you're like speaking over him. Like, just let him finish.
All right, no. That's sorry. I was just trying to. I wasn't sure if it was coming.
You're a bit quiet, man.
Yeah, it's my headphones. So NoKnee, I've sent you a link in your DMs to our server, which has a load of resources, and there's alphabetized channel lists. And under one of the channels, it's called Why Lie. There's a whole bunch of different speculations in there. Realistically, if you want to try and work this out or come to some kind of understanding yourself, it's going to take more than you asking us all of our opinions. I mean, we can tell you a bunch of different possibilities for why this has occurred. But at the end of the day, if you want to know, you're going to have to spend some time doing some research and figuring it out. But it sounds to me like you're asking the right questions. I mean, it's understandable that you want to understand why this has all occurred, why this is happening with us. But sadly, the case is that you can't really get into these, you can't time travel, you can't get into these people's minds. So all you can do is research and try and figure it out. Don't get too hung up on it at this stage if you're kind of early on it. Just start looking at the different arguments and the evidences and stuff and keep that motivation aspect in the back of your mind. It takes time. You can't just like get it fed to you in a few minutes. Usually.
And let me tell you this, right? Oh shit. Sorry, no, forget it.
Yeah. So you got to look at why do people lie? Right? Can you come up with an answer for that? Like, why generally do people lie?
They have some sort of personal goal that they want to achieve, and they believe that lying will reach that goal.
It's to gain an advantage, right?
I mean, that's one way you can put it, sure.
Yeah. So if you know something that other people don't know, then you have an advantage over them, right?
Depending, sure.
What do you mean depending?
Well, I mean, just having like one piece of knowledge over someone doesn't necessarily give you an advantage. It depends on like.
Well, it does, because if you can use it even once, that gives you an advantage, doesn't it?
If you could use it, right? If there's some sort of like practical use for it.
Yeah, there's always a practical use of you knowing something that someone else doesn't. Always.
I mean, you and I both know that like there won't really be like uses that I guess matter. Let's say.
What?
The fact that the person created the lie shows that there's a practical use for it.
No, I'm not talking like generally speaking. I'm not talking about like.
Dude, man, you are just a tap dancer, aren't you?
No, I just
like.
Well,
generally speaking, I'm sure you'd agree that with the phrase "knowledge is power," right?
Yeah, generally, yeah.
Well, this is the ultimate example. Because you don't have knowledge of this earth that they're telling us about. We don't have knowledge of that. They claim to. They say, we can go to a place that none of you can go, and we're going to define your whole reality for you. That's a great deal of power, because how you conduct yourself on this earth is going to be influenced by what you think it is and why you think it's all here. So it goes very deep, the psychology of things.
Could I ask, I've heard that twice be said now, and I'm curious, since you became, I don't know how you want to describe it, became flat earth or whatever.
A base Chad will do.
Yeah, sure. Giga Chad. When that happened, like, and the time afterwards, how did you start operating differently in the world? Like, what changed in your life? How did you start operating?
Your critical thinking will dramatically improve.
So what did you see things out more. That? Like, what came from that? What like did you get anything from that? Well, besides like, I'm seeing reality more clear.
Yeah, get an understanding of the natural world, an understanding of our place in it, or at least you could say an understanding of what we've been told before isn't true. Getting incorrect ideas out of your head is a useful thing to do, especially if these incorrect ideas are essentially your entire worldview.
Okay,
you're less gullible.
So like did you have any sort of like material gains, or was it all like philosophical? Or
no, it's not about material. It's not about material gain. I mean, it's not like you're gonna become a millionaire by realizing this. It's a different thing. But yeah, loads of people, I would say, speaking to flat earthers generally, they all seem to say they're happier knowing it than not. But it's kind of hard to quantify exactly what changes, because it's so, well, in the one sense, nothing physically changes, right? Because you already experience the earth as flat and motionless. So in that regard, nothing changes, but you can now understand that what you see is what you get, rather than trying to do some mental gymnastics and imagine the earth that they told you about in school and apply that to the physical, natural world, which you can do, but it's always just a mental exercise.
Something you said a second ago. Yeah. Would you say that like you said that they purport that they're usually happier? Are they happier in the fact that they now have this knowledge, or are they wait, my word's calling me. Give me 1 second.
Yes, I'm happy that I can tell anytime somebody on TV is lying to me. Even 4 years ago.
I mean, if you just kick it back 150 years ago, the mainstream history is pushing the narrative that everybody back then knew that the earth was a ball, when we find contradictory information that people were being taught that the earth was flat. Now, on top of that, most of us have come up in a day and age where it has been considered common knowledge that the earth is a ball, and also that evidences presented by government agencies such as NASA was completely accurate and were actual images, actual photographs, when they were just presenting paintings and falsified evidence. So when you kick the rock back to 150 years ago, you'd have to try to convince somebody who knew the earth was flat that, hey, it just looks flat no matter how far you can see, with however great of a telescope you have. That's just refraction. When every measurement, every long distance observation based on ground measurement lets everybody know that there is no curvature to be found. So moving back 150 years, like as one of these hypotheticals that you like to do, if you're a flat earther, without NASA and their fake evidence, there would be really no way to convince somebody that, oh no, everything you have, don't believe your eyes, that's just something called refraction. You know what I mean? You would be hard pressed to do so. You're coming in with the presupposition that everything that you've been taught in school is true. And that's just not accurate based on observations that have been done multiple times by many different individuals.
Including a PhD. Also, I no longer have to worry about asteroids hitting my house, so I don't pay the extra $50 a month in insurance. I canceled it.
Okay.
No, what's up?
Oh, okay. So like, you said that when people seem to go towards or like learn about the truths, they purport to be happier. Are you saying that they're happier in the fact that they've learned about this, like, or they have this, like, I guess, revelation that like they've been lied to, or like the entire
No, they're not happy about that. Obviously, no one's happy about that. I think it's more the case that having independent agency improves the quality of life. So you're no longer a passenger in your own experience of life, being told, hey, this is what's going on, this is the situation. You're forming your own views and you're looking for yourself and thinking for yourself. So I think that generally improves people's quality of life, especially since what you're being given generally by the mainstream is a horror show.
That seems, I mean, I don't know, like, at least intuitively, that seems like the opposite would happen in like a revelation like that. Like, now,
Well, it's
like, your quality of life would go
like
down,
that.
actually.
It's interesting because it can be the case. People will have a freak out, and maybe they will get a bit depressed about it when they come to the realization. But after that initial experience, I would say, based on all the people that I've spoken to, they all consider themselves better off for knowing and going through it.
Okay, it's like a trial thing that.
Yeah, it's a trial by fire. It's an ego death, right?
Do you? I don't think you were here earlier, but do you have any worries that like this knowledge would be something that could be dangerous to have?
No.
And why would that? Like, well, actually, I don't know if you.
What would be dangerous? What would be dangerous about observing a horizon?
Well, I mean, at least from my understanding of people in here.
Which it's like asking, is knowing the reality of your environment dangerous? Actually, I would say it's more dangerous to not understand the nature of your environment.
Well, I'm not saying like the danger comes in that. I'm saying the danger comes from the people that don't want you to know that, or don't want you to report this truth to other people.
Well, I don't know. I mean, I generally wouldn't say so, but I mean, the overarching interest here for us is the truth, whatever that is. That's where we go. So, I don't know. I mean, I'm personally not fearing for my life. Maybe you would. I don't know, but
somebody already told you that it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. How are you going to hide the fact that the Earth is flat? How do you hide that?
Maybe if you were like a president or something and you started talking about it, then maybe.
I mean, how do you hide it? It seems as if they've already hid it. So I don't know.
Nah, they can't hide it.
Just go outside. It's not hidden anymore. It's only
unhideable
on television.
Well, rad. Like just going outside and looking doesn't tell you the shape of the planet. The planet's pretty big.
No, it doesn't. It doesn't necessarily. That's true, but they've not hidden the fact that it's flat and motionless. It cannot be hidden. That is what we experience directly. So it's not a case of hiding things. It's a case of making you interpret your observations in a very specific way that happens to be counter what you're actually experiencing. That's what they've done.
See, and I already know, like, especially this old guy, because he's been on my case the entire time. It's like when you say that, like, it's a way in which you're trying. This fucking old Haas or whatever.
Oh, old Haas.
Yeah, old Haas. Yeah. So whenever you're like, oh well, Radwin is too, but whenever you say something like it's a way in which you're kind of shaping your mind to like interpret what you're seeing. I mean, I don't know. For me, intuitively, it makes me ask the question of like, well, what's the purpose behind creating that interpretation in our minds? What is it that they're trying to do? What is the purpose of that?
Well, it would make you a lot more susceptible to their suggestion because they're essentially telling you that you can't even trust your basic senses, and they have a method of understanding reality that you don't even have access to. So when they suggest this is how you should behave, this is how you should think about anything really, you're way more likely to believe them because you don't have access to the ability to determine it if you follow.
Sounds like North Korea with propaganda. North Korea does. Sounds similar.
It's like, you ever read 1984?
I've heard about it a million times and the gist of it, but I've never actually read it.
Well, you should definitely read it. Well, they talk about it, and they talk. Well, I can't remember what phrase they use for it, Newspeak or whatever it is. But it's essentially, yeah, they can convince you that, or they can at least convince you to ignore your eyes, ignore your ears, and they'll teach you 2 + 2 = 5. And even if you don't believe it, they'll get you to say it, till eventually you do believe it. You convince yourself.
Yeah, did you hear they're increasing our chocolate rations?
So is that what flat Earth is?
But I'm just surprised that like they would go through that effort to convince everyone of this for whatever reason. I mean, we can speculate whatever reason. They would go through all that effort, but it seems like they don't go to the final conclusion of trying to like totally get rid of the idea. It's like they're like, let's let it linger. Let's tell people
You can't.
just
You
look
can't
at
get
them and
rid of
laugh
it.
and point.
It's the human's default. It can't be gotten rid of.
Why do you think NASA has a budget of, what is it, $60 million a day? So they can produce shit for you to think you live on a ball. They're not doing anything else. They don't fly anywhere.
Show us the edge then. Show us the edge.
Let's get rid of him.
No, we're having a good convo with this guy. Although it should be more on the evidence really than the speculation, but at least you're interested.
Well, I mean, I could just say when I first came in, like, oh, it's you. I'm just trying to figure out like what your world or y'all's worldview was like.
Do you think you understand now?
I think I have different perspectives from a few different people because I've talked to a few different people.
Tell me, give me an overview of what it is that you think we're saying specifically, in general, with our arguments.
It seems like, sort of the flat Earth argument is that. I mean, I'm trying to think of how to keep out the specific like reasonings why and just get to like a broader idea.
Yeah, our arguments are not based on speculations as to why this has happened. Those aren't our arguments. So if you don't know anything
Some people
other
were
than
making those, so I'm trying to omit those in my explanation.
We did not make an argument like that.
Well, they were saying like the reasonings why these were happening. Some people were saying.
Oh, you asked about
because you asked about it, but that's not what that's not what we're presenting here. We're not saying the Earth is this because these people have done this. I'm asking you what your understanding of our position is. What are we saying?
So it seems like broadly what you're saying is that that there was almost intuitively human nature. We understand that the planet is flat or some, I guess, similar shape.
It's not a planet.
That's the words I know how to use. So like whatever words you want to substitute, sure.
Well, planet's a light in the sky, right? The Earth is the ground beneath your feet, so call it the Earth. Yeah.
So
can I call out an example real quick? That's an example of programming. He can't not call it a planet.
Yeah.
I mean, I will right now. So
we'll just catch
Earth,
it. That's fine.
Earth is flat, and it's a intuitive thing that for whatever reason we were
right. But what's our evidence for that? What reasoning or evidence are we presenting for that claim? Because we're not just stating that claim.
Right, and then the whoever this was came along and for whatever reason tried to program us into saying that. Well, actually,
no, you're talking about people again. You're talking about people again, not Logan.
You just gotta let me get to it. And then Earth is like is actually a globe, and then they started to invent their own like reasoning and ways in which that they can quote unquote prove that Earth is actually a globe and that the flat earthers are wrong. And then
right, okay. Can I reframe the question? Can I reframe the question to be a little bit more
specific? Your
specific?
claim would just be that like all the different examples that are given are actually proven to be wrong. That you guys have evidence to the contrary of.
Well, listen. What you were doing before there is you were kind of going through a bit of the history as to how this idea came about. What I'm asking you is, what is our argument for saying that it's flat and not a ball?
Isn't it multiple arguments? Do you just have one overarching?
Yeah, but there's an overarching fact about the nature of the surface.
I see what you did there.
I don't think I've heard what the overarching.
Okay, well then this is it very simply. There is no surface curvature conforming to this globe. None detected, none observed, none measured, ever. Had you not heard that?
Not in those words. Can you say it again? There is no surface. What was it?
Yes, curvature.
Okay.
Conforming to this ball, right? And you would understand.
You didn't hear that before. I told you it's measured flat. If that doesn't mean it's not curving, it's hard to deal with people like that don't understand it. If something's not curving, what is it?
So, can I ask you, like, with that statement, to your understanding, is there any sort of people that would say, if they say it's wrong and they have examples of why they would say it's wrong, like that statement, what would they normally say?
They would say, no, it's been measured, and then we say, who measured it? And they can't find anyone, and then they spiral.
And then they go pictures from space.
Yeah, then they say things like gravity and NASA. There's no measurement.
Yep,
there's no evidence on it. They just spiral, basically, yeah.
So then, whenever someone tries to present, like, I guess evidence to the contrary that wouldn't be true.
What would the evidence be?
Every single, like, well, it doesn't matter the specifics. That's what I'm saying.
If they
present some, Oh my god. If they're trying to present some sort of evidence to the contrary of that, you're saying that like this evidence is debunked? Like,
well, what it is so they'll present they'll present an argument like sticks and shadows from Greece in the BCs, or sunsets, or gravity, all of these things which assume the curvature, and then we take them back and we say, no, you need to show that there's curvature, and that's where they shut down and brick. You see? You understand? There's a fundamental assumption with all of these arguments. Well, there's multiple, but the most foundational is a curved surface. So if you don't have that, you don't have a ball. You understand?
Is there any sort of like, let's say mathematics or anything that makes predictions that?
Yes. Go on Google and type in curve calculator or distance to horizon calculator.
I got sent to me by that other guy actually.
Yeah.
Hey, I think you want flat Earth predictions? Yeah, it's the eclipses. That's all flat Earth.
Hi, Americans. Can I just ask, like, I've heard a few flat earthers say that it's like a religious point of view because God said that above is heaven, below is hell, and in the middle is up.
Nobody said that. No, we're not religious. Talking about religion about that. It's not.
Some people
I wasn't accusing you. I wasn't accusing you of doing that. I was simply asking if that was the reason.
No, you have your wires crossed.
Hold on, guys.
We don't need to be shouting at people. That's a bit aggressive.
It's not a reason why we're flat earthers.
I didn't say you specifically. I asked if like that was potentially a reason.
That's all right.
Okay, thank you. You could have told me nicely. I appreciate the reply.
I said 99% of people are not flat earthers because of religion.
Okay, that's fine then. Can I ask why you are then?
Because it's measured flat.
Measured flat, looks flat, navigated flat, practically used in every application in life is flat.
I mean, I do agree that if you look at the Earth, it's like flat from our world view, but what about space? Is space not real?
It doesn't exist, yeah.
Yeah,
There's no space.
It's a violation of the second law of thermodynamics.
That's why you only see it on TV or on a screen. Yeah.
What did Katy Perry see?
A green screen.
Yes.
A
camera crew and a green screen behind her.
Yeah, I don't think Katy Perry went to space, to be fair.
Yeah, come on. Even the normies are realizing that's all propaganda. Come on, guys.
Yeah, that's not the first time that, a fake spaceflight has been done, that they faked it. All right, so if they're going to fake it once, right, they didn't just fake it with Katy Perry. They've been faking it the whole time,
Even if say that went up that high, that it's not even high enough to be in quote unquote space. That's just higher Earth. They didn't even travel. Not even a course. Not even a length of Florida. Not even a little bit of a short line.
Yeah, but that's just how they trick you into thinking that you have to go somewhere else to see the world, even though you live on the world every single day.
Just quickly, like a couple of examples that I've at least heard. I don't really know like the full details of the math if you're gonna ask me, but like whether you have, I guess, rebuttals or if you have like a quick rebuttal to them. Like for instance, like what do you guys normally say with people who say like weather balloons have shown the curvature?
I've never heard anyone say that. Well, so do you think the moon's round or is the moon also flat?
Oh my gosh.
Okay, not you, like the people who actually are flat earth, like the weather balloons, like that go
Yeah.
roughly like 100,000.
The issue with high altitude imagery is you can't exclude lens distortion. So a lot of the videos that you'll see will be using a fisheye lens like a GoPro, which curves straight lines. So if you watch these videos, you might see it at a certain bit and think, oh yeah, look, there's the curve. But you watch it a bit longer, and as the camera rocks about, that curve inverts, right? So it goes from convex to concave, and then flat. So they go all over the place.
And you'll also see the same, and you'll also see the same amount of curvature at the surface before they even let the balloon go.
100%. And even Neil deGrasse Tyson says that's not even high enough. That's about the same height. Usually that they go is about the same height that that the dude that jumped off the balloon was 130,000 feet. Yeah, that's flat. There's a mathematician from Planetarian that he even says he wouldn't be able to see it from the ISS, which is 250 miles supposedly that where they're at. You only see 3% of the Earth's surface from there. So yeah, he says you will see nothing but a flat horizon.
What about how does like my understanding of like the way GPS works has to do with like triangulation that would only work on spherical Earth.
Oh, you said triangulation. Now you screwed up.
So how do you guys talk about like GPS or what?
You know what a triangle is?
Of course, this was like the conversation you had earlier about the difference between a triangle and a flat surface and a spherical triangle. I know.
Okay. So you already know the answers. You already know the Earth is used, in fact, in navigation as flat.
Well, at least as far as I understand from like airplane flight patterns that you can like monitor.
Flat, also flat, point to point flat.
They don't seem to take the routes that would be optimal for a flat Earth. They seem to take routes that are optimal.
Well, they fly in straight lines, so yeah, that's flat.
They hug the shoreline like ships do. They hug the shorelines like ships do as much as possible without crossing large bodies of water, because if a plane goes down somewhere that we're not checking, you're never going to see it again.
You guys
even in an area where it's not like going over body water. Let's just say it's from California to New York.
No, we're not going to do that. We're not going to go into that minutia. The important thing that we need to realize in this conversation, because it would just be the curvature is the thing that we need in the first instance. Now, where is that? There's no curvature of the Earth to be measured.
You guys are definitely doomsday preppers. This is really a wild conversation.
Distracted into some kind of frozening the well fallacy. Okay, what we need is the Earth curve and the measurements thereof in the first instance, other than trying to backwards engineer and find the consequent with this whole thing, saying, but my GPS, but my weather balloons, but my sunset. We don't need any of that. What we need is primary source measurements of the Earth in reality, and we don't have that.
The planet's round.
But
Here we go.
my whole point of like bringing these things up is like these are at least examples that I've heard as to like where a curved Earth has to be taken into account.
Okay, so that's the story. Now I want you to tell me how you get any of that data so that stuff works. Show me the curvature and how it needs to be accounted for, instead of just telling me someone told you. That's what we need.
I mean, if you're not interested, then it's fine.
No, so what you're missing here is what you need to be doing is when someone makes one of these claims to you, like you've just made it to us, you should then be asking, okay, well, where's this? This would be assuming that there's curvature again. So where's this been measured in reality? Because if you're saying these things prove that there is, then why can it not be detected in reality when measured?
I mean, I'll try and find it for you.
Try and find a direct measurement, yeah? The drop over distance. That's what you need.
The only people that are missing in the world, do you think they've just fallen off the edge?
What edge?
No.
Oh, just in case.
They must have.
What are you talking about? Fall off of, and if your space is fake, dudes. There's no edge to fall off of.
But when does the world end then? There must be an edge. If it's flat, there must be an edge. Or a wall.
Space is fake. Didn't you hear me?
Let me ask you this. Let me ask you this, Mogul. When you go to a shoreline, is that an edge of Earth?
Yeah, I walk into it
then you have
sometimes.
water, right?
No.
There's no water after you get
Water doesn't exist. Water's a
when
concept.
you go to a shoreline? Did you say water's a concept? Please don't say that next time I'm on YouTube.
Don't be like this Scottish bird. It's not worth it.
Can I please ask my question now?
Scottish or
What's your
people
question?
don't do it.
What's your question?
Like, this is a genuine question, so like I'm genuinely intrigued. So do you think that all the planets are flat too? Like genuinely? Like
Right, so there are different things, right? So you need to figure out that there are celestial bodies, the luminaries that we see in the sky, and then there's the ground beneath our feet. You've been taught that you can think of them in the same way and that they're the same thing, but they're not, right? So you can't compare the two. So even if they were balls, which we don't actually observe, we just observe small little blobs of light or discs of light if it's the sun or the moon, you can't assume that that's what the ground is, right?
True,
So,
and I suppose the moon does look like pretty 2D.
well, you don't see it as a spinning ball, do you? You don't see other sides of it spinning around. So
No, and actually, when now I think about it, we don't also like. Surely we would feel the Earth spinning, or at least notice.
well, they'll come up with a million excuses as to why they have no evidence for it moving. But yeah, I agree with you. There would be some detection of motion if it was in motion. The only time it's in motion is when you're in an earthquake, and then you'll know. So forget all that. It's all sci-fi.
That's pretty valid, to be fair.
Nonsense.
Surely, if the world was flat as well, like the people on the sides would be like dropping off. Like, how do they
You're
stay
just
on and stand
confused.
vertical?
Well, yeah. Well, listen, you're gonna have to go and ask the globe priests all that. They'll tell you gravity. You're being sucked into the center of this big spinning ball. Just nonsense.
Yeah, Isaac Newton's a liar.
Yeah,
Or just
actually,
a
there's a lot
fantasist.
of experiments you can do to show yourself that you can't detect any acceleration, deceleration, or conservation of momentum. So, go stack some rocks. Go balance and stack some rocks. Go put a gyroscope on a table, or go hang a pendulum from your ceiling. The results are going to be nil. You won't have any results that would indicate motion in any one of those. So
that makes sense. I think you've converted me.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
Put your tinfoil hat. You're in the corner. Could you go grab yourself one?
What?
Put on your tinfoil hat now.
Yeah, I will. The government is sucking our brains with our 5G. How dare they?
Well, listen, for years, hundreds of years, people have been trying to detect this alleged Earth rotation, Earth motion, orbit of Earth, and nobody can seem to detect it. There isn't any kind of experiment or demonstration that can be done that would indicate to us that Earth is moving. You don't sense it. Your sense perception is not telling you that you're moving, right? If you're sitting out on your porch, say the wind is at just 2 miles an hour, right? You don't feel much of anything. You're just sitting still. Do your senses indicate to you that you're the one in motion?
No, because I don't have a porch.
Well, whatever. You're sitting outside, porch, whatever, patio, deck, whatever, balcony, sitting outside.
Hold on. Maybe they've never been outside before. We might have these kind of people in here.
Oh, yeah, I don't want to go down that. I don't want to go down into those weeds. That's crazy. So everybody's been outside. You've sat in a place long enough to sat down outside, right? So your senses don't tell you that you're moving. So.
Someone said
Yeah, space is fake.
A moment ago, someone said that Isaac Newton was a liar, but it turns out that Isaac Newton was a pretty honest man. I have a quote from him in the side chat. He says, I would not describe innate gravity. Read the whole quote. He actually thought it was absurd, this idea of spooky action at a distance we call gravity. So he wasn't a liar. He knew it was retarded. He just wanted to give the people what they paid him for, which was some idea about how something could work. It was something, but he thought it was ridiculous. So he's not a liar.
Oh, slay Isaac Newton.
All right, so we got any other questions? thoughts, comments? Are you guys new to this? You've never spoken about flat Earth before. You don't know what's going on. You're confused and excited at the same time.
Yeah. So like, I don't know. I agree with some stances where it came from, but like the only people I've heard talk about it was one person, and she came at it from the religious point that in the Bible God says that obviously there's heaven above, earth, and then hell below. So they get it from like there's kind of like an in between, and beyond the clouds is heaven, and beyond the wall.
Let me explain that bit to you. If you find the religious thing of interest.
I'm not religious. I don't really care about the religious standpoint, but like that's just what I'd heard.
Well, you might come across some people that say that, but it is the case that in Scripture, in the Bible, the Quran, the Torah, they all describe a flat, motionless Earth. So that's true. So when some people figure out that the Earth also measures flat, for them it confirms their Scripture. So they're like, yeah, look, it says it in the Scripture. But that's not what we talk about.
Flat?
As in, right? So a sphere has a curved surface, yeah.
Yeah.
Like a basketball, football. So it's got, if you put a ruler on it, like a horizontal, that surface would curve down and away from it, would move away from that horizontal. There'd be a drop, yeah?
Yeah.
The surface has to be curving down and away. Well, they tell us the size of this ball, say it's got a 3,959 mile radius. So you can go online, just go onto Google and type in curve calculator or distance to horizon calculator, and it'll tell you how much curvature there should be from point A to point B over however many miles. There's a formula for it. And so from that, someone's hot micing. Who's that? Fuck up.
Fixed.
Thank you. So from that, you can work out how far you should see over the surface, right? Like on a lake or a shoreline. They tell you boats and things are going over this curve. Well, you can go out and test it. You can test how far you can see, and we can see much further than we should be able to. We can see things that are supposed to be hidden by this curve that doesn't exist. So we're just observing and measuring flat bodies of water, because that's it, right? Water, the physical nature of it is to find its level, a body of water, right? So that's observably flat to us. So the question is it measurably flat? And the answer is yes, it is. So there's no curve, so it's not a ball. And people in the side chat will probably be posting videos and examples. I've got a link I can send you to our server, which has loads of examples of people doing this just all over the world, using lasers and high-powered cameras and mirror flashes, all kinds of stuff. Do you want to see them?
Yeah, I'm actually low-key a bit convinced at this point.
All right, I'll send you the link.
I want to be a flat earther. This is a fun little cult.
You're already a flat earther. That's good news. You just don't know it yet.
I'm falling for this, just like gravity.
Well, we'll have to break your heart when it comes to gravity as well.
You can't.
I think I just sent it to you. Well, things fall down, but the bending and warping of space-time, as imagined by Einstein, yeah, believe it or not, surprise, surprise, that's just a bullshit concept.
Oh, what have you sent it me on?
Just through Discord. Wait, what's your name? Yeah.
It's I'm the one on here with the 2 love hearts.
Right. Okay. Yeah. I just sent you the link. Right. So click on the link and tell me when you've joined, and I'll tell you where to look.
Yeah, I think you're in my request. Oh yeah.
Right. So join the server. And there's loads of channels in it because there's terabytes of information on it. But if you scroll down about 3/4 of the way down the server channels, you'll see an additional information section. It's all alphabetized, A to Z. See those channels? Starts with Antarctica. It's got gravity, sun, moon, stars, curvature, motion of the Earth. Do you see those channels?
Yeah.
Right. So if you look under C for curvature, and you look under L for long distance observations and laser tests, you'll find a load of videos and demonstrations of exactly what we're talking about. Folk firing lasers tens of miles, the military firing lasers hundreds of miles. Everything proves that it's flat. Nothing actually proves that it's a ball. Radar goes too far. Whale calls go too far. Like everything debunks the globe when you start looking into it.
But I'm already like halfway there. I think the government lied to us. I also low-key believe that we're AI, that are believing that we're AI, but we're coming around to the fact that we're AI.
Some of the Globers might be AI, but I assure you we're not.
I don't know, I think we are.
So take some time.
Ladies' night on Wednesday.
We're becoming unprogrammed.
Oh, yeah. So there's a ladies' night that we do on Wednesdays. You should come along to it. It's at some time on a Wednesday.
Oh, well, can I bring Morgan?
You can bring whoever you want, as long as they're chill and not psychopaths. That's fine.
Oh, no, Morgan's in here right now. She's really, really nice.
Yeah, we would love to have more ladies at ladies' night.
Yeah, so we've got ladies' night on Wednesdays. Yeah, bring your mothers.
Oh, she's dead, bless them. I mean, I can bring a Ouija board. We can interact with her that way.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. Rest in peace. But, well, whoever you want to bring, it's ladies' night, and it's just the ladies of the flat earth answering questions and having discussions. So it's a good time. Show up if you like. Anyway, I was sending you those resources so that when you leave this call, if you're interested, you can still research. But we're here 24/7. We've got a YouTube channel that's streaming 24/7. So if you just type in 24/7 Flat Earth Discord into YouTube, you'll find a few of our channels. And yeah, we're just flat smacking all day, every day. 365 days a year, 24/7. Honestly, quite a remarkable free service we're providing here.
What day did you say?
Wednesdays at the moment.
Okay, I will be there. I'll be back. I'm just going into a drama chat. I'll be back.
Fine. All right. Who's next? Step right up. Someone else is going to have to call our names.
I think that guy, the guy that was speaking earlier, took that chance to take off.
He sounded all right. I mean, they called this, but when are they not?
Yeah.
But he's not. At least he's not going, oh, well, I'm a flat earther, so I'm retarded, blah, blah, blah. He's not doing that shit.
Fuck it, the Earth is a children's donut.
Yeah, right.